Okay, stage two. Stage two, we are going to fold in our facing seam along our centre front and pin it. Make sure, what I want to see is you folding that seam in the way you've bluffed it. Now that you've bluffed it, I don't want you to push it out like that and try to stitch over the top of it. That ain't going to give you a good corner. Giving you a nice corner is when you fold it in and that seam comes the same direction as you've bluffed, and then you back tack and stitch over the top. What we're going to come up to is our pivot corner. So we need to match our pivot corners. We're going to put a pin through our top pivot corner and then find its way through the bottom one so that those two corners match absolutely perfectly. Pull that pin through, make sure it's nice and flush. So I know that's my pivot corner that matches perfectly with the other side on the other pivot corner on that part there. Okay, you might find, because once again it's cut work, there might be a little bit of excess in one of your sides and not the other, depending on how it's cut. They should be, if it's a perfectly cut out garment and patterned garment, they should be absolutely perfect and match. If they're not, whatever side's got that excess, put that down. Okay, so you might want to put that down. If you find, mine hasn't got that much excess, so I'll be fine. 1 centimetre seam allowance, we're going to stitch up into that pivot corner. Tack. 1 centimetre seam allowance, right up into that corner. It's not at all perfect, right, spot on, but if it's not, you might have to do half a step back to make sure it goes right into that pivot corner. Put your needle down and into your fabric so that it's right down, so that when you lift up your foot nothing moves around. You're then going to lift up that fabric and we are going to cut, from the corner into your needle. Okay, so from that corner right into your needle. So let's just lift up my snips if I can. From the corner, snip right into where that needle is. Right into that corner. Then what we're going to do is we're going to pivot our fabric around like that. Okay, so then we can continue sewing all the way up. First thing we're going to do is pin our fabric, our lining, to each other, because we need to create a pleat down the bottom. So whatever's excess will be our pleat down the bottom. Let's pivot a bit better. Okay. So let's just line up first so we can give it a good old press. Now once again, because this is cut work, it may not, if you line it up exactly at the top, like that lining right to the top, you'll probably find you don't have very much of a pleat there. But we're going to pretend that this is matching at the top and we're going to pin it together all the way down. When we get down to the bottom here, we should have a little bit, can you see there's a little bit of a pleat at the bottom here? That's what we're in our lining going down. So we're going to make sure that we pin him in place. So it's all nice and flat, pleat down the bottom, then we can stop and continue sewing. Take our pins out as we go. Make sure that cut edge is on cut edge all the way up. Back tack when we get to the top. Really important when you're pivoting around that corner. Just open him out so you can see. That's the pivot corner there that we've just done. And we've also just, remember there's that pleat that with that little part where the lining comes down and back up again in the bottom of our lining, so that we've got a bit of movement in that. Really important when you're stitching along that seam there and when you're pivoting around to come up to this part, that you, as you're stitching, that you pull that up. Otherwise what you'll get, to make sure that's a nice clean neat corner, otherwise if you don't pull that up, what you'll find is you'll get a bit of a tuck in that corner, which we don't want. So you should snip right into that corner. It needs to be perfectly into that corner. If you don't snip right into that corner, you will also get a tuck. So you must snip right into that corner, and then when you turn it around, make sure you pull that up so that it pulls nice and flat and you don't get a tuck in that corner, and then stitch it all the way up. and make sure that you've got a little bit of a pleat coming down in your lining. Alrighty, so if I'm just going to look at the other stage sample that we've got here, pull him out, you must get a decent pleat. I've got a 1 centimetre pleat coming down in this one, and luckily my cut work is actually matching at the top for this one. Unfortunately, the cut work I've got for this one that isn't matching at the top there, so not so good. Once you've done that, you need to then turn it in the right way, fold that corner down, put your finger and thumb on the inside. When you pull it through, you should pull through to a nice beautiful little corner. So make sure you fold your corner down before you turn it in the right way. If you don't, you're not going to get a nice corner. Alrighty, and what we've got here is a left and a right. So that's one side and that's the other side. So it really doesn't matter which side you do your stage samples on. Okay, so and when you're pressing it, what I want to see is to roll that hem at the bottom so that it flattens nicely out. And that excess and this seam should roll to the wrong side or the facing side. So when you're looking at it from your main side or your good side, you shouldn't see anything rolling out to the wrong side. This is what I don't want to see. I don't want to see that. Okay, so make sure you roll all that to the inside. Because you've already pressed that hem here, it should go nicely into a hem already for you. And then you can give it a good old press. Make sure you press that pleat down to the bottom here. And then don't worry about the tops not matching, because that's kind of irrelevant. What's important is that pivot corner down the bottom. Okay, thanks.